Yo, what's going on, everybody? I got a little interview here with my boy Nick Zouras. This is the second one we've done because we have some updates to share with the world. Nick, I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself and everything like that. But for those of you guys that don't know, Nick is a catching coach where he helps catchers drop their pop time and has had a lot of success. We've been working together for a while. So, Nick, I'll let you take it away and, kind of just tell me a little bit about you and we'll go from there.
Cool. Um, so yeah, like Nick said, I'm a catching coach right now. Um, but I didn't start out there. So a little bit of background on me. I played Division I baseball. I played at Illinois State. 2019 was my last year there. Um, so that year was probably the year that I saw the most success in my career. Um, Won a conference championship that year. So we got some pretty cool rings from that. And then we made a Louisville regional, lost to Louisville in the championship game on their field. And that's kind of where my career came to an end. I guess what I tell everybody is, if I was a better hitter, um, I'd probably still be playing. Because unfortunately, to play professional baseball, you have to be able to hit at least a little bit, and I couldn't do that. Um, but ended up being probably the biggest blessing in disguise because my offense wasn't great. So I had to really focus on my defense if I wanted any chance of playing. And the reason that that has been kind of a blessing in disguise is the amount of time that I put into perfecting, the defensive aspect of my game, um, gave me a lot of knowledge about the position that, maybe other coaches didn't have and kind of gave me an edge after my playing career came to an end. Um, so yeah, fast forward a little bit, playing career ends. Um, Decided, to try my crack at the corporate world, working a 9 to 5. I worked in insurance. I worked in sales. I worked as a general manager at a baseball facility. I did a bunch of things like trying to figure out, what would make me happy in the corporate world. And like a lot of people that are watching this, what they probably realize after being an athlete and then trying to fit in with the NARPs is it's really fucking hard and it's not fulfilling. Especially when, yeah, especially when you're competing with you're competing for something and, you have a tight group of guys that, are your brothers and then you try to go into the corporate world. It's, uh, it's depressing to say the least. I think a lot of people can probably resonate with that. Um, so I'm grinding it out in the corporate world for a couple of years, and the whole time that I'm working these shitty jobs, I'm like, damn, there has to be more to life than this. I knew deep down, hey, I'm made for more. This can't be it. I can't be working, till I'm 55, 60, retire with a little bit of money and then die. I wanted to live a life that was worth living and had a little bit more meaning. Um, so obviously, as I'm working, this thought is growing stronger and stronger, and eventually it got to the point where the thought of rotting behind a desk for my whole life and working for somebody else was way more scary than taking the leap and trying to figure something out on my own. Um, so yeah, like I said, that thought continued to grow, and as that thought continued to grow, I would get hit with different bits of inspiration, hey, maybe I could do this, or I was a really good catching coach. Why would I give that up? Um, so I started working in a baseball facility right around the time that COVID was happening. And while I was there, I started working with catchers, and I realized hey, this is something that I'm really good at, and I'm good at coaching kids. I'm good at getting results. There's no reason that I can't do this long term. Just because I don't have professional experience doesn't mean that I can't be a good coach. Um, so one late night of thinking, which I'm sure a lot of us have had, where we're kind of going over our life and the decisions we've made and what we want out of our life. I get to writing in a notebook, and the idea of pro point catching was born. At that point, I wrote down, pro point catching, the amount of money that I wanted to make, the impact that I wanted to have, what the brand looked like, the resources I was going to provide athletes. But I had written all this stuff down. And deep down, I had faith that it was going to come about. I just didn't know how yet. So again, you fast forward a few months, and different sparks of inspiration come from different places once you get clear on what you want. So yeah, I'm working that job, working with catchers, building up, my reputation and my knowledge. And one day I have this crazy light bulb moment where I'm like, I need to move to Arizona, like as soon as possible. So I go on Facebook Marketplace. I'm, finding like cheap subleases, finding like the best way to get out here. So I pack in my car, move to Arizona, get into the coaching world out here. And through one thing or another, I end up meeting Nick Neville. And probably like the biggest, source of gasoline on my fire was meeting somebody that was doing what I wanted to do and had figured out all the things that were like these huge question marks in my head. And Nick was gracious enough to teach me everything he knew and like be a mentor for me without asking for a penny for me, just out of the kindness of his heart. So yeah, I remember we were at Live ABs one day, and Nick was like, "Dude, you'll be making six figures before you know it." And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, how is that possible?" But I was like, "Okay, well, this guy's doing it, and he's making more than six figures. Like, I'm just gonna do what the fuck he says." And like, obviously, that took time, and it wasn't always a straight line. Um, but yeah, so fast forward a year, and I started posting consistently on Instagram in January of 2023. And then you fast forward a year to now, January 2024, hit my first $10,000 month, just like Nick said. And as far as I'm concerned, dude, like I just started running ads. Like my DMs are flooded right now. I've got a lot of hot leads. I'll probably close like six guys this week, which will be my biggest week. And like I have so many like plans and ideas for the future of like where I could take this thing. So like I don't know, $10,000 a month just feels like the first like rung on the ladder. Like I feels like we're just kind of getting started. But I guess to bring it all like full circle, like just having a little bit of faith in myself and where I wanted to go, and then obviously like putting in the work. Here we are now.
Yeah, dude, no, obviously like you have a great story, right? And I think like for me it's cool to be a part of it, because I know that it's possible, right? Like I know that it's possible, obviously because I've done it. And not everybody like has that conviction, right? That like I can do crazy shit, right? And that's fine. But what would you say to those people who maybe are questioning like, I don't know if I can do online training. I don't know if anybody's going to want to work with me. I don't know, like all these like I don't know questions, right? What would you say to those people?
Yeah, that's a good question, dude. I guess what I would say to those people is like an analogy that I go back to in my head is like think about your career in the weight room. Like chances are, if you're a coach, you were an ex-athlete, right? The first time that you stepped into a weight room, maybe you like did some bicep curls and like did some bench press and like, like ran on the treadmill for a little bit. And then you go home and you look in the mirror and you're like, fuck, like nothing happened. So like I'm gonna go try again tomorrow. Right. The next day you go and you do some fucking tricep extensions, you do like some leg press, right? You look in the mirror, like nothing happened. Um, but then like, you know, at that point, when you're looking in the mirror, you have a choice to make. Like, do I stick with this knowing that if I put in the work that the results are gonna come? Or do I just stay narrow-minded and like just focus on like what's in front of me right now and let that prevent me? And it's the same thing with anything you do. Like Nick uses the analogy a lot of like a baby learning to walk, right? Like the first time like a baby like gets on his feet and he like falls on his face, um, your parents aren't gonna look at you and be like, oh fuck, like this one's a crawler. Like that's it. Um, and that's one of my favorite analogies too, because it's so true. Like you can't expect to like have everything figured out in the first day that you try it. You can't expect to like be the best coach on the first week that you try it. Like the advice that I would give to those people is like get very clear on the outcome that you want, and then be willing to put in the work, and also be willing to be okay with not knowing necessarily where the results are going to come from. And then, you look back like, months, whatever, years later, and it's like, holy shit, like, look how far I came, but it's because I took those steps. So it's like the big picture is scary. Like that's like the big monster in your closet you're scared to face. Like once you can face that and figure out how to beat it, like that's when you start making progress.
100%. No, dude, I love that answer, right? And something that I always like to tell people is like, how do you eat an elephant? Like, what's the best way to eat an elephant? One
One
bite.
bite at a time. Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
One bite at a time, right? And something that I see like a lot of people is they have a difficult time conceptualizing like how am I supposed to do online training? And because they don't know how to do the entire thing from front to back, they're like, Nick, it's not the right time, right? What would you say? Like, what would you say are like maybe the two or three biggest things that have led to your success? Because you started this when you had a full-time job, right? Like it wasn't the best time to start. And to be honest with you, there is no best time to start, right? But I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, I think you said it perfect, dude. Like there's never going to be a perfect time to start. And I think the mindset shift you need to make is like, and this is so cliche, but it's so true, right? Like the best time to plant a tree was what, like a year ago or 5 years ago, right? Yeah. So that you could reap the benefits today. So it's like, for me personally, I had tried so many different things. Like I always knew I wanted to make money on the internet. I just wasn't sure how it was going to happen yet. And like I would start a project like drop shipping or like whatever the fuck it was hot that week. And I would try it for a little bit and then I wouldn't stick with it. And then, a few months would go by or a year would go by and I'd be like, fuck, dude, like what if I just stuck with that for a year? Like where would I be now? And like once I finally came to the realization, like, hey, like this first like year, this first 5 years, this first 10 years, like might be hard, but where do I want to be when I'm 30? Where do I want to be when I'm 40? And it's like, okay, well, I'm never going to get there unless I start today. So just thinking more long term, and just be willing to start, dude. Like it's like you said, it's never going to be perfect. Like you do what you can with the resources you have, and then eventually you buy more time for yourself, and you can grow even faster. But you got to start.
Absolutely. Absolutely, dude. I think that's so perfect. And like that's a good reminder for me too, because like when I first started this new thing, I was like, I have no idea what's gonna come out of it. And now I got more clients in my coaching program where I coach coaches than anybody in my program does, you know what I mean? So, and that's not meant to be like a brag, right? But it's like I've been at this for a while, so I know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? But 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I couldn't have dreamt about doing what I'm doing now. You know what I'm saying? And you probably feel the exact same way. Like, dude, 2 years ago, if somebody would have told you, like, hey, in 2 years, you're going to be making 10K a month coaching baseball on the internet, like, what would you have said to
Yeah, I wouldn't have believed them. Like that sounded crazy. Like I always wanted to do it. It's just like, fuck, like how am I gonna get there? You know?
Yeah, yeah. I would say, like, that's the biggest thing that I think holds people back, right? Is like not knowing how they're going to get there, right? Um, But I guess like shifting gears a little bit in terms of like obviously you've been doing this for a little bit, right? And we've talked a lot about how when we first started working together, um, you wanted to do a lot of things on your own, right? What do you think have been the two or three biggest things, the biggest changes that you've made to go from okay, like I'm getting followers to holy shit, I'm making real money?
Yeah. Um, so I'll put it this way, like if you're on a football team, right? And like everybody's on the line, quarterback snaps it, and everybody wants to like do their own thing, right? Like this guy's gonna run this way, this guy's gonna run this play. Like nobody knows what the fuck's going on. The chances of you winning that game are very small, are very slim. But it's like once I put my ego aside and realize like, hey, I can't really do this all on my own. And there's people that have done what I want to do, and they know they've made all the mistakes that I'm probably gonna make. And there's a way for me to expedite this process. Like I can't emphasize this enough, but like you have to be willing to put your ego aside. And something Nick always says is like just run the plays, run the plays, run the plays, run the plays. Because they're proven to work. So it's like if you think you're smart enough to like not run the plays and still get success, like maybe you can do it, but it's going to take you a lot longer than if you just follow someone who has already done what you want to do. And I think, dude, like my biggest hesitation was I always wanted to like keep my vision clear. Like I didn't want to like concede to anybody else's ideas of like what my business should be, or like, you know, that I think that was where a lot of my resistance came from. But what I found out is like, dude, if I take the thinking out of like the business side and like the marketing side and like the selling side, like now I have so much more creative freedom to like put into my marketing and like how I coach my guys. And it's like before I was worried about like, okay, how do I like create a DM script, and like how do I like create a sales script, and like how do I like set up all this shit. And it's like, well, if I just listen to somebody who's done it and like put all that stuff into place, like now I have all this extra time to like create a really good program and like create really good marketing and like actually connect with my athletes. And that's what allowed me to like actually like start to grow like pretty fast.
Yeah, 100%, because you grew fast, right? Like you went from like not sure if you were going to make more than a couple grand to 10K in like a few months. You know what I'm saying? Part of that is you doubled your price, right? You nutted the fuck up. Like I've been telling you to do for like 6 months.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess that would be another thing too, dude. Like you asked what were the biggest like shifts that allowed me to grow like that. And it's like being able to recognize like, okay, what are the stories I'm telling myself, and like why do they hold weight? Like, I came from a family where, you know, there wasn't a whole lot of extra money to go around, right? But my dad would have done anything. He would have taken the shirt off of his back in order to, help me propel in my career and help me get to the position I'm in now. So it's like part of me was like scared to charge a lot of money because like I was coming from this scarcity mindset. But it's like instead of being in that scarcity mindset, like being okay with charging more money and knowing like I'm gonna give the best results possible. I'm gonna give the best program possible. And like at the end of the day, like the price of my program is cheap. Like that was the mindset I had to put myself in, and stop thinking about like scarcity, 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 and thinking about like, okay, how can I really like serve my clients and like make this program fucking worth it? Because it's like
Exactly.
now I have kids that are going through my program and like, hitting these crazy numbers and going to showcases and like committing to play college baseball, which is like
Yeah,
fucking
that's
crazy.
insane.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, like, how much is a 4-year scholarship worth? Like 100 grand? Like, okay, then anything under that is worth it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And how much, not even just the scholarship, how much is playing college baseball worth to you? To me, it's
yeah,
priceless, right?
right.
Me playing college baseball is the reason why I have everything that I do now, right? It put hair on my fucking nuts. I still wear this Carolina, even though they cut me, I still wear it, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? Dude, no, I think kind of what I've seen in your growth is like you've gotten away from like what people think social media should look like, and you've actually started to market, right? Instead of being a dancing bear in front of the camera, you've actually started to market, right? Maybe talk a little bit about like the differences, the shifts that you've made in terms of your content strategy because like, dude, people are always like, oh, these kids want this stuff for free. You never get that. You never get that. So like, why are you able to make money doing this with a much smaller following, right? And obviously you've grown a following over time just because you're like good at what you do, right? But why do you think that you don't ever get that objection?
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot there, and I'll try to touch on everything. So like you said, going from, just figuring out the way to frame your social media is huge. Like when I first started posting on there, like everybody comes into marketing with a set of preconditioned thoughts on how they run their personal Instagram, right? Like you're posting shit on there, you're trying to get likes, you're trying to like, attract a girlfriend, you're trying to like show your friends that you're doing cool shit, like whatever. Like it's that's the frame that you're attacking social media with. But in order to be a business owner, like you need to attack social media in a totally different way. Um, One of the biggest things that I learned too is like, and Nick, you've told me this a million times, but it's like there is no limit to how much you can like say something or how much you can ask people for something or how much you can like do certain things.
Yeah.
Because I always had this thought like, well, if I like post the same type of reel too much, like people are gonna get annoyed and they're gonna unfollow me, whatever. Or if I like, post too many links to my calendar, like people are gonna think I'm like too salesy or whatever. But then if you think about it, like I know me personally, like I follow a lot of like internet entrepreneurs, and all they do is like post value, ask for money, post results. Post value, ask for money, post results. And it's like, I don't ever get annoyed with them. Like, I don't think they're being too salesy. Like, I just think they're amazing salesmen. Or not amazing salesmen, but I think they're amazing like business owners. And it's like, okay, now you need to step into that reality with your Instagram and the way you run your Instagram. And like you need to establish yourself as an authority. Like somebody who has conviction in their program, somebody who has conviction in their ability to coach clients, like has no problem posting results, has no problem like posting a link to their calendar because they know the more times that they post that, the more times they can get people results. So it's like shifting from like the ideas you have about a personal Instagram to shifting to running a business Instagram. And it's like, people, you don't want people to follow you so they can like your picture or like think you're cool. Like you want people to follow you so they can get value and so you can help them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
100, 100, 100%. 100%. Bro, I ask people for stuff on my story every single day. Every
Right.
single day, I tell people to DM me. Every single day, right? And like, what do people think? Oh, he's selling something. And then they go to the next one because if I have, let's say, almost 3,000 followers now, let's say I have 3,000 followers, I'll get 500 story views. There are 2,500 people that didn't see it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And another thing you said that I forgot to touch on too is like, a lot of guys that when they start out, like they have the objection, like, oh, this costs money. Like I thought it was free. But it's like having that conviction with your marketing, like, dude, nobody asks me if my program's free. Like when I'm in the like, dude, 60% of my closes right now are coming from the DMs. And it's like I send them the VSL, and then the first thing is like, cool, I want to get started. Like, how much does it cost? Like nobody's like, oh, is it free? Like I've provided so much value and like I've made the work I do so clear that it's like, cool, like how much do I owe you, you know?
Exactly. No, that's dope. That's dope, dude. DM closes are fire. DM closes
So
are
fun. So fun.
And if you're watching this and you don't know what a VSL is, go ahead booking a call with me down below. I'll send you one. But okay. Just shifting gears, like what's next for you?
Dude, I have so many ideas. Okay. So this is something I'm going to talk about today, but like a lot of times when guys get hung up in the weeds, it's because they're not sure of where they're going. Like I know in 10 years from now, when I'm 37, like I want to be hosting nationwide camp. I want that to be, like a way to propel program sales. Like I want to help kids get into college. I want to start a recruiting service, right? So it's like I have all of these things that I want to accomplish. So it makes doing the daily work a lot better when I know where I'm going. I think a
Yeah,
lot of times people get like stagnant or don't push forward because they don't know where they're going. Um, but what's next for me? Like, so I hit 10K like pretty much organically, which was cool. And I always had hesitations around like, running ads. Like I was just, like I said, like the monster in the closet. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know where to start, blah, 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 blah. Right. But then I sat down with Nick. He gave me a little bit of a plan and like took action and like, dude, they're fucking working. Like, I don't,
There's a reason people run ads, bro. It's because they work.
dude, they work. They work. And like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, bro, like every 10 minutes, like I'll get a DM, pop time, pop time, pop time, pop time. If I if I get 10 a day and like I convert like one or two of those, like that's a fucking like $300,000 a year business, right? Like, um, and it's like, okay, so now I've figured out how to run ads. So now I want to get like really specific on the way I run ads. I want to like target certain demographics, like parents. Like I want to expand this more to like little kids and be able to sell like longer term packages and have kids for longer periods of time. Something else that I want to start doing this summer is I want to start hosting like growing seminars. Um, so I'm gonna start doing like some marketing for that and like getting specific on where I'm putting this marketing. Like I want to do one in California, I want to do one in Texas, I want to do one on the East Coast. So I'm gonna start doing that. And then so that's like the next like year. You start building out like growing seminars with the intent of like giving as much value at these seminars as possible. And then obviously selling people into programs. And then after that, like once I get the format of seminars down, I want to start figuring out ways to like turn these into like recruiting seminars where I'm having like local coaches coming out and like kids can get recruited out of these seminars. Um, so yeah, that's like the long term play, dude. And then eventually once the recruiting service is rolling and it's making money, like hopefully sell it one day to like PBR or something. I don't know.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
For sure. Dude, no, it's been awesome to see your progress, bro. And just like as your friend and as we've developed our relationship, like it's been super, super dope. And I know you're about to host one of my group calls here right after, which is cool too. So I appreciate that. Couple more things that we can wrap up. For anybody that's lurking in the shadows, right? That's watching all my content, that maybe got on a call with me and oh, it's not the right time, or maybe you're seeing this for the first time, maybe we're about to jump on a call, right? But for anybody who's, maybe thinking about joining my program, right? Because I understand that it's not a cheap investment, right? For anybody that's thinking about it, what would you say to them?
Yeah. Um, here's the thing, man. Like at the end of the day, the group of people that you surround yourself with is going to be the standard that you hold yourself to. Like there was a reason that, when an extra room opened up in Nick's house out here in Arizona, like I jumped on the opportunity to move in with those guys. Because I knew if I was in that environment, like it would push me to take the steps that I needed to take. Um, at the end of the day, dude, like all this shit that Nick is like posting on his social media about like, guys that are growing their pages and making sales and stuff, like, dude, it's all real. Like it's all right here. Um, and I'm lucky enough to know Nick like on a personal level, but like I've seen other people's programs and like I've, taken bits and pieces of information out of other people's programs, but nothing compares to Nick's school page, dude. Like it's everything that you fucking need is there. Everything that you need is there. All you have to do is just like set aside time every day to like do the work and get the shit done. Um, and then on a personal level, dude, like I know that Nick is one of those guys where he wraps up his self-worth in the success of his clients, which is a blessing and a curse. But what the good thing is, like for anybody watching this, like dude, Nick's gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that you reach your goal. Like if you tell him you want to do something, like bro, he doesn't forget. Like he'll hold you to that standard. Um, so just getting around those people, dude, and like seeing the possibilities is fucking huge. Like you're not gonna take action unless you like actually get in an environment.
Yeah, 100%. And like for my perspective, dude, like to me it's super humbling for you to say all that stuff about, me and the program that I built, because I've obviously dumped a bunch of time and effort and dude, like I've spent like 25K like to learn a lot of the stuff that I'm teaching, you know, and that's just like in hard money, not like time, energy, research, losing money, testing stuff, you know, and then packaging it all up and presenting it to you guys and being like, this is what I've learned, you know, at a huge discount.
Right. Right.
No, like obviously it's really easy for me to say like, hey, like I fucking care and I work really hard and like I will take care of you. But a lot of people see me as, you know, a scammer on the internet who, you know, is just selling a program and blah, 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 blah. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. But dude, fuck those people. Like at the end of the day, like some people are just gonna let their limiting beliefs dictate the course of their life forever and never look in the mirror and like take accountability. Um, so yeah, I don't think those are the people you want on the program anyway.
I appreciate that. And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm getting a lot more picky about who I let in now too, because I don't, dude, the community is so sick, bro. Like it's so humbling, dude, like to see, you know, other people answering their questions in the community. Like I don't have to answer every single question. Like people want to answer their questions. I'm like, this is crazy, bro. But it's just the environment. So,
Yeah, I mean, dude, that speaks to you. Like you've put so much value into the program that like guys are eager to like, pay it forward on their own too. So that speaks to what you've done.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Dude, we could talk all day, but like any last thoughts that like you have to say about, you know, your experiences, the program, anything like that. Leave us with some parting wisdom.
Yeah, okay. This is something I think about a lot too. Um, you'll only accomplish like what you believe is possible. If there's any part of you that believes that, maybe you were made for more and that you have more to offer this earth, like then fucking do it. Like, what are you waiting for? Like, think about it like this. Like, are you okay with going through your whole life working for somebody else, putting money into a retirement account, like hoping that it's there when you retire? Or do you want to like actually leave some kind of an impact? Um, and if the answer is like leave some kind of an impact, then like do whatever the fuck it takes to get there, Like it's not like you only have one shot. Um, and that's pretty deep, but it's true.
It is true. No, I appreciate that, bro. And like that resonates with me so much because like, dude, when I started this business, like I told you, like I'm willing to go broke to make this shit work. Like I'm
For
willing to
sure.
everything that I've made, everything that I've built, ruin my reputation to make this shit work, right? Do everything possible. And so, you know, for me, that's the biggest separator, right? Is how bad do you want it? And a lot of people say that they want it until I present them with an opportunity and they see the price tag associated with that opportunity and they get scared, you know? But those aren't the people that that would really get along well in the community anyway, right?
For
So,
sure.
dude, I really appreciate you, you know, jumping on this call and like I'm super excited to see your success because, you know, obviously like we're close friends, but at the same time, like just to see like your progression as a man and like the things that you've been able to accomplish in the last 12 months have been pretty insane. So, if you are a baseball coach, sports coach, and you want to make 10K a month coaching sports, coaching baseball on your laptop, make a bigger impact for less of your time, achieve time and financial freedom without giving a split to your boss, sacrificing the results of your athletes, etc. If you want to stop running from your dreams and running from success, then go what I want you to do. Go ahead, book in a call with me down below. The link will be down below. Fill out the application, take a time to speak with me. Bring your credit card. Don't really like wasting my time, just being blunt. If you need more information about me, send me a DM on Instagram. Go to my Instagram page, go to my client results. It's on my story highlights. There's probably 15 story highlights right now of all my guys crushing it like Nick. Scroll there till your thumbs get sore. And yeah, Nick, I appreciate you jumping on, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.